aliens, and the military. The list of global threats to the human race is long. But could Earth's armed forces be facing a new enemy that is literally out of this world?
We have only to open our eyes to see how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
From UFO dogfights to acts of alien aggression against the planet's most powerful weapons of mass destruction, we will expose military evidence that could prove world governments have long been preparing for the next great global conflict, a real-life war of the worlds. Tonight, we present surprising cases of alien engagement and their cover-ups. Join us as the secrets of aliens and the military are unsealed. A global effort has begun. Secret files hidden from the public for decades, detailing every UFO account, are now available to the public. We are about to uncover the truth behind these classified documents. Find out what the government doesn't want you to know. Unsealed. Alien Files. Exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. The coast of Northern California, September 17th, 2012. The online newspaper Veterans Today reports a shocking military action. According to a leaked classified memo, warships from the United States and China have joined forces in the Pacific. Their target is cited as a highly unfriendly extraterrestrial threat. Normally at odds, the unlikely alliance raises fears of a doomsday scenario.
When you look at the evidence, if the planet Earth were to ever face an invasion from an extraterrestrial race, it really wouldn't be a war between this country and that country. Those boundaries would fade away, and that we would have to come together and fight that war together.
The U.S. government has not confirmed the story, nor does it acknowledge that any evidence of alien spacecraft exists. But if there is no clear and present danger from aliens, why are American armed forces preparing for a UFO threat? Unsealed case file, Air Force Instruction 10-206. In 2011, shattering evidence of the Air Force's belief in UFOs is uncovered.
While investigating whether or not the military in today's world was still investigating UFOs, I discovered Air Force Manual 10-206. This was undeniable proof to me that on the books, there were still instructions for reporting unidentified flying objects.
Although the public story remains that the military and the government have no interest in UFOs, Air Force Instruction 10-206 proves otherwise.
This was not a manual from the 1960s or 1970s. We now have a manual, undeniable proof that the military was still actively investigating these UFO records, these UFO reports, and these UFO sightings. That's very, very significant because that is 100% contradictory to what the military wants you to believe.
The military built to respond to the world's deadliest threats has officially placed flying saucers on the threat board. Even more shocking, they had been there for more than 40 years. In 1968, cadets at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado, are issued a textbook titled Introductory Space Science. In it is a section that has become known simply as Chapter 33. Its subject, Unidentified Flying Objects.
This book was not a work of science fiction. This was an actual military manual that was being utilized by military students, and they were being trained by this book.
Chapter 33 presents evidence that UFOs are a global phenomenon which may have persisted for thousands of years. It recognizes several explanations for these craft. Among them, the possibility that these UFOs are either manned or remote-controlled by beings who are alien to this planet.
The military wants us to believe that they are completely closed-minded to the topic of UFOs. Maybe this textbook shows that they're a little bit more open to the idea than they want us to believe.
Could these pages of AF-10-206 be a smoking gun that exposes what the military is secretly preparing for? The next case shows those preparations were not enough when the military was attacked by UFOs. Coming up next, a UFO dogfight exposes human weapons to be useless against an alien threat. This is Unsealed, Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Welcome back to Unsealed, Alien Files. From a reported naval battle with UFOs to the discovery of an Air Force alien defense plan, conflicts between extraterrestrials and the military are happening throughout the world. But are mankind's defenses any match for alien weaponry? Unsealed case file: Alien blackout weapons. Iran, September 19th, 1976. Authorities received multiple reports of a strange object over the capital city, Tehran. The Imperial Iranian Air Force dispatches a fighter jet to intercept. Military records from the incident describe a chilling, close encounter.
When they finally had visual contact, they asked what should we do, and the base gave them permission to fire. And just when he was ready to squeeze the trigger and fire a missile at this thing, his whole dashboard basically went dead. His cockpit went out electronically. He was still flying, but it was all disarmed. So he couldn't fire a missile, he couldn't do anything.
The Iranian jet's weapon systems have been completely disabled, rendering it helpless. At the time, no craft in existence had that kind of control jamming power. Even today, it's still the stuff of science fiction.
The object that the pilots described was very luminous. They also described multiple colored lights flashing very, very quickly on the bottom of the object. This is an amazing description in a United States government document. This is an astronomical find when trying to figure out exactly what the military might be hiding.
Can UFOs disarm the world's defenses with little or no effort at all? It's a terrifying prospect. But the Tehran incident wasn't the first time alien spaceships were reported to have disarmed our weapon systems. March 16th, 1967. America's eyes are focused on the war in Vietnam. Meanwhile, a terrifying scenario is unfolding in its own backyard. 10 nuclear warheads at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana are fully operational and waiting for launch commands. Captain Robert Salas is working 60 feet underground as part of the 490th Strategic Missile Squad. He suddenly receives a phone call from above. Hovering over the base is a UFO.
We had multiple military personnel viewing this object that was hovering directly above a missile silo that housed 10 nuclear missile warheads.
Suddenly, all 10 nuclear warheads have been disarmed, leaving them completely inoperable.
According to the official report for this incident, they do acknowledge that multiple military personnel witnessed a UFO or UFOs above the base, but it also states that there was no reasonable explanation for the silo to be shut down. If this report is true, and the UFO's presence was connected to this nuclear missile silo being shut down, what are they trying to tell us about the most dangerous weapons we have in our military arsenal?
The Malmstrom is a terrifying example of UFOs disarming humanity's most destructive weapons with no effort at all. 15 years later, they would once again toy with our nuclear weapons. Only this time, they wouldn't deactivate them, but instead push humanity to the brink of doomsday. Unsealed case file: the Ukrainian incident. 1982. The Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union has hit a fever pitch. Nuclear missile sites on both sides are on constant alert. On the evening of October 4th, multiple witnesses report strange lights appearing in the sky above the long-range nuclear missile base at Usovo. They perform a series of acrobatic maneuvers, but suddenly, the dazzling light show takes a terrifying turn. Below ground in the silo, control panels spring to life on their own. The missiles are preparing to launch. For 15 heart-stopping seconds, base personnel watch helplessly as the world teeters on the brink of Armageddon. But then, just as suddenly as the launch sequence began, the system shuts down, while outside, the mysterious lights have disappeared. With so many UFO confrontations occurring between the world's militaries and UFOs, why is the truth being kept secret?
I think if the military were to capture or be given alien technology, I think they would absolutely want to keep that to themselves.
I can only come up with two reasons. One, to make sure there's no mass hysteria, that people aren't going out and trying to shoot these UFOs down with their own guns. Two, and more importantly, they want to keep this technology for themselves.
Coming up next, secret plans reveal Air Force flying saucers and anti-alien weapons that all point to an incredible discovery. America could be preparing for an extraterrestrial invasion. This is Unsealed, Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. Welcome back to Unsealed, Alien Files. Throughout the 20th century, militaries around the world have experienced strange and unusual encounters with UFOs that defy explanation. And the occurrences of these confrontations is rising at an alarming rate. But where did it all begin? Was there a landmark first encounter? Los Angeles, February 24th, 1942. America has just entered World War II, and 100,000 people are awoken in the dead of night as the Army fires over 1,400 anti-aircraft rounds at what photo evidence proves to be an unidentified flying object. But officials have a very different explanation.
The United States military maintains that the object was simply a weather balloon, and yet not a single piece of evidence was ever recovered.
U.S. military run-ins with UFOs continue through decades, including the ultimate encounter, the Army's alleged recovery of a downed alien aircraft in Roswell, New Mexico.
July 8th, 1947. The Army Air Force has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
These encounters bear an uncanny resemblance to other military standoffs with UFOs over South America, Iran, China, Russia, and countless other places around the world. But why have these incidents been steadily rising since the Second World War? The answer only seems to raise more disturbing questions.
We've been spending billions of dollars on our military budget for advancing our technology. And it's only now, in the last 10, 20 years, that we've been able to capture evidence of these UFOs and even, according to some people, engage them in combat. And maybe the real question is where this technology came from in the first place.
Unsealed case file, America's flying saucers. Officially, the United States government has never admitted to recovering a UFO or researching alien spacecraft to develop human weaponry. But new evidence may show otherwise.
Many of the declassified documents that are surfacing even today are showing technology that was on the drawing board and even being built by our military that could only be described as flying saucers.
In 2012, declassified files from the National Archives revealed schematics for a secret U.S. Air Force prototype known as Project 1794, a flying disc capable of vertical takeoff or landing, or VTOL.
If plans for 1794 had actually come to fruition, we could have been looking at the first aircraft capable of actually outmaneuvering other UFOs. The projections clearly show that it's capable of speeds up to 2,600 miles per hour and can shoot through the stratosphere. It could have flown from New York to Miami in only 24 minutes.
But Project 1794 was not alone. Some designs, like those for Project Silverbug, were also discovered in military files. And others, like the Avro car, had test footage revealed to the public.
Think about the power and technology that our military could have utilized if 1794 came off the drawing boards. It didn't need a runway. You could store them in some underground installation with a small opening where these things would take off straight up in the air and be able to fight in a conflict. So this technology was something that the military, I think, really wanted, not only at the time, but probably even today.
Some believe the design for these discs was recovered from Nazi aircraft designed to launch from the cratered runways of World War II. But could these UFO-like military craft have their roots in alien intelligence?
We still see the influence of flying saucers and UFOs in today's military technology. In fact, many civilians who have seen this military technology being transported on the freeway or even being tested will report these craft as being UFOs.
What does it look like?
A UFO? I mean, I don't really know. I don't see too many UFOs in the regular
I mean, does it look like a spaceship?
Yeah.
Everything from stealth technology to sonic weapons could have been extracted from alien knowledge. The real question here is whether our military is trying to protect us from humans or from some sort of alien threat.
Is it possible the American military is preparing itself to fend off an extraterrestrial menace?
I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Many political leaders have talked about the possibility of ET presence here on Earth.
One such political leader is Paul Hellyer. Hellyer is the former Canadian Minister of Defense and could be one of the most qualified individuals ever to speak on the alien presence. Hellyer was recently quoted, "The reality is that aliens have been visiting Earth for decades and probably millennia and have contributed considerably to our knowledge." But could this government insider also know the truth of a looming military conflict with an alien race?
Paul Hellyer also shared information about the United States that could very well expose the idea that we are preparing for an epic war of the worlds.
Coming up next, the shocking confession about plans for a real-life Death Star and the distant battlefield where Earth's fate may ultimately be decided. This is Unsealed, Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth. UFO experts have often speculated about secret preparations to combat a possible alien invasion. But former Canadian Minister of Defense Paul Hellyer has indicated that the United States may already have a defense outpost for an interplanetary war.
According to Hellyer, Dick Cheney and George Bush were giving permission for the U.S. military and government to build a base on the moon.
Could the moon be Earth's first line of defense from cosmic enemies?
Having a base on the moon might prepare us for military battle with an ET presence. Obviously, if they're coming from space, that might give us a strategic stronghold to wage battle.
If these stories are true, alien conflict is on the rise around the globe. Could we soon be under worldwide attack by an extraterrestrial intelligence? If so, the militaries of the world may one day be called upon to band together for a final stand as a united army of planet Earth. This is Unsealed, Alien Files, exposing the biggest secret on planet Earth.